It's now 6:33, and the Wellington School Board of Education regular school board meeting is called to order. We'll start off by reading our mission statement together. We can start now. The mission of the Wellington City School District is to create and maintain a highly effective educational system in which every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students to become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong process. Thank you. Now we will have the review of the agenda. We also, first of all, like to acknowledge, we do have a board member online as well tonight, Ms. Tanya Bird Robinson. We will have the agenda review and approval at this time.
Ms. Hale. Ms. Hale. Ms. Hale.
Yeah, we hear you, Ms. Robinson.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to add two things to the agenda. Well, one thing, just and that's more of a question, or Mike, I can just ask it when we get to Dr. Shotwell's comments if we want to. It's just about the I know it's almost time for our students for their student senior trip. Do we want to add it, or do you just want to bring that share that information, Dr. Shotwell, when you do your
He does not have any information at this time to share,
Get it.
but he can get it.
Okay, because I know it's coming up, and I know we normally approve it like the month before, so. Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else? All right, can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda as printed.
Is there a second? Second. Has been motion and probably second to approve tonight's agenda. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, and tonight's agenda has been approved. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from open session?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the open session.
Okay, it's been motion and properly second to approve the open session minutes. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, and the minutes for open session have been approved. Next, we have Ms. Angela Lee Easter with recognition and upcoming school events, new hires.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Good evening to our board chair, vice chair, and our board members, this wonderful community and our friends. Thank you. Welcome to another great opportunity to hear about the great things that are happening here at Wellington City Schools. At this time, we are going to acknowledge our student of the month. Our first student of the month is Weldon Elementary Global Academy, Kamora Whitaker. Ms. Whitaker, what are you? She's a model first grade student. She is eager to help me in any way. She has shown growth in reading and in math. She can write wonderful stories. Kamora has a very supportive mom who helps in every way she can. And Kamora always has a smile, shares, designing, kind, good friend, good student. Congratulations. Give another hand clap for her. Student number one. Here.
There you go.
You got it.
Congratulations.
All right. Mom, principal. Mom.
Yeah, see, you thought you were gonna be taking a bit, but you're gonna be in this one. There you go.
Right. Love it. That was good, that was good.
All right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job, good job.
And at this time, we would like to recognize Weldon Middle School Student of the Month, Jaden Perry.
All right, Jason.
Get quiet, storm.
Yeah, congratulations.
Jaden Perry is a model student who consistently demonstrates respect and responsibility. He completes his work on time, maintains positive relationships with both staff and peers, and represents our school with integrity. He's dedicated, has character, and he well deserves student of the month.
All right, David.
Awesome, thank you.
Your mom, anybody here?
Well, it's mom and sisters and all.
Oh, that's fine, everybody. Everybody else come on to. Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, congratulations.
One sister, one sister.
Come on.
Okay.
All right, so we get them in here.
Yes. Congratulations.
All right.
Support your brother.
That's right, that's right.
There you go.
All right.
And our next acknowledgement would be Baby Williams. We're gonna go with Adriana Taylor. That Jaden. All right, we have Jaden Williams, and he's from Weldonsville High School Career Academy.
Right, there you go. All right.
Jaden is an extremely hard worker. It's not big A's rising. Jaden is an extremely hard worker and a great example for others. He is very respectful, very punctual, and dependable. Aside from great academics, he's an awesome student with great character. That sounds good to me.
All right. This is Jaden Mo.
Jade, oh yeah, all the Jadens.
Jaden Mo, yeah.
There you go. Wonderful. Wonderful.
All right.
And our next student from Long Valley Early College, student of the month, Adriana Taylor. Adriana is a tenth grader at Long Valley Early College. She is a hard-working student who is always respectful, kind to others. She is the epitome of an early college student. She takes her college coursework and her high school coursework very seriously. In addition, she's constantly seeking opportunities outside of the school to continue her academic growth, such as applying to the School of Science and Math summer program. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great.
Mom. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad. All right, brother.
There you go.
The whole crew.
That's great. That's great.
Family affair.
Love it.
Right, right.
Oh, you get daddy, I can't be daddy. There you go. That's right, come on. He's around the corner.
One of your names.
Perfect.
Yep.
Oh, yes, we are. Thank you. Right, that's right.
All right, great, congratulations. Good job, congratulations.
Our next acknowledgement is our employee of the month, Mrs. Dalnisha Jones. Ms. Jones is a counselor for Weldon Middle School. She is an amazing supportive member of the team. She meets children where they are and helps them fulfill their potential. We are so glad to have her as a part of the Charger family.
All right, Ms. Jones. So, get them in here. They probably mess with you, recognize you for the picture. We gotta recognize you. Yeah.
Oh, shit, you need to get that picture, everybody else. You need to get the picture. I just started taking I'll make sure you get a picture.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And at this time, we would like to acknowledge our parent of the month for Weldon City Schools. She is Mrs. Brenda Ricks from Weldon Middle School. Is Brenda Ricks here tonight? Let's give her a round of
Yeah,
applause.
yeah.
With joy that we recognize Ms. Brenda Ricks as our parent of the month. Ms. Ricks is a shining example of what it means to be a dedicated and compassionate member of a school community. Her commitment to ensure the success of not only her child, but all students, which is truly inspiring. Ms. Ricks, we are grateful for everything that you do. So glad to have you. And before I go to the new hires, we do have Mrs. Jamira Williams that didn't have the opportunity to come, and we also, Miss Williams, we would like to give your certificate.
Williams Davis.
Williams Davis, Miss Williams Davis.
Congratulations.
She was out January.
Yes, sir.
You, thank you.
All right.
Would like to acknowledge our new hire for the month of February, Mrs. Janice Fletcher. Mrs. Fletcher has 27 years of education experience serving students, families, communities in Virginia and North Carolina as a teacher, EIT, MCL, EC coach, and most recently as the employee relations, recruitment, and retention specialist in human resources. She received her bachelor's in sociology, anthropology, endorsement, and early childhood education from St. Paul's College, Old Dominion University, master's in elementary education, Longwood University, school administration. Weldon City Schools welcome Mrs. Fletcher to our project.
Welcome.
It's for the family portrait.
First family portrait was Weldon City Schools. Love. Thank you so
All right.
much. And now, in the meantime and in between time, please check our district webpage, Facebook webpage, Twitter page, and the Daily Herald to stay current of all the great things that are happening right here in Weldon City Schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Angela Easter. The next item on the agenda is public forum.
We have one.
We do have one?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Regina Brooks.
Okay, we have Ms. Regina Brooks available? Is she here?
Ms. Brooks out there? Ms. Easter, Ms. Brooks out there?
At this time, if any of you all would like to leave.
But you also.
You don't need to stay.
Come on.
But I see people leaving, so I just want to let you know, don't feel like you're being rude. If you want to get up. And thank you all so much.
Congratulations again.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Okay. So we don't have anyone for public forum tonight. Well, Mr. Brooks is not here, so we'll go on to the next item, which will be reports. And we'll start with Superintendent's report, Dr. Rodney Shotwell.
Yes, ma'am. Before I get into the two things that are listed on there, we just got this information today in my email. But, and if you, we can elaborate on it a little bit. Dr. Faulkner, thank you. If they have any questions, they're coming to you. Okay, I just remember being part of it, but I have slipped since then. But we were able to, you know, we applied for the safety grant. And there was $85 million worth of requests, and they allocated to us for equipment, $175,000. Services for students in crisis, $100,000. And for training to increase school safety, $50,000. You know, and Eva, Devon, y'all did a great job. Thank you.
It's good.
Appreciate that. Because I know y'all had to do a whole lot of research. I remember y'all running around. So it was definitely worth it. It was absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
And then what I have attached to it is, you know, information that we shared the last time at the work, at our work session, but you wanted us to bring this back. You know, how important is federal funding for Weldon City Schools? And if you look, you know, in 2024, Weldon City Schools ranks #1 in the state for the per pupil that we receive for per pupil expenditures between federal, state, and local at $12,824.61. And I'm just telling you, the per pupil for the federal is $6,562. That's a considerable amount of money. And if that was taken away, lots of services that we provide for our children would definitely be hampered and impacted. And our children deserve the very best. And I can just tell you that the National Superintendents Association, as well as the COSPA that you all are associated with, are doing everything they can to try to fight to make sure that the federal funding stays intact for schools. You know, I think it was a scare tactic a little bit earlier this year, but you know, the new budget year comes up for them and we want to make sure that we're in it. And we've got story after story about the impact that the federal funding has done for us. And for many of us as adults, you only have to go back to the free or reduced lunch that you may have been on, like me. If it wasn't for the federal funding for the lunch program, my mom would have had a difficulty being able to feed 2 young boys in her house. And so to me, that's something that people need to absolutely remember about this, because when they say federal funding, it also includes that. And that's something that impacts our children every day for breakfast and lunch. It's just like when we had the, you know, when I sent out the notice before we got out for snow, I said, make sure those students who receive backpacks with snacks, that they get it for 5 days. Because honest to goodness, some of our children didn't get another warm meal until they came back to see us the following Monday. And I think that's just something that we have to keep in the forefront of our mind. And if you're hungry, you can't learn.
That's true.
No, Michelle, what was that figure again? $650 dollars?
It's right there.
$2,562.
Under,
65.
yeah, 65.
62.
I mean, basically half of the money that we give per pupil.
Okay.
Is that, the other thing that I have, well, before I do that, this is also gonna be something fun too. this is not what the packet looks like. They're actually gonna get like a backpack, but we're gonna do the Scholastic books for the summer, where each child will get 8 books. We're gonna send it to all of our kindergarten through 4th grade, so that they can have it next year when they come back to school, that the teachers can use some of the things there. It'll be a guide in there. It'll be a letter that'll be from us, telling them, this is summer reading, and a guide in there to help the parents to talk about the reading in there. We have choices, between fiction, nonfiction, and STEM. And so each student would get 8 books, and it's for them to keep. And I think one of the best ways that we can, really encourage learning is for a student to have books in their house.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter when you start your library. Y'all remember going to the Scholastic fairs when we were kids?
Yep.
Of course, they didn't have all of the races and everything like they got now to try to get you to spend that little extra dollar. But I just remember getting those books. I remember J.J. Walker on the cover of the Dynamite magazine. But I live for that. Or you got that little piece of paper and you were looking like, oh, I gotta check this one, this one, this one.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
It's that desire and that love for learning. And so that's what we're gonna be doing with that. And we're really excited about that. Also, so the next thing that's on here is the revised 24-25 calendar. Because we have used 4 remote learning days, we're really only talking about 2 days. And what we're changing on the calendar, what we're requesting is that we would change March the 4th from an optional teacher work day to a student day. We would change March 14th to a student day would be the recommendation. And then we would change April 25th from an annual leave day to an optional teacher work day. However, if you have a teacher or somebody who's new to the system and they don't have that extra leave, then you can work it out with them to get that time in so they can still have the entire week. Because we're not gonna have any more snow. I'm telling you now. Mr. Hunter, don't come in there and tell me there's no whitetails that you got. There's not gonna be any more thunder. No more thunder until March 21st, okay? I'm telling you, that's come true. Has it not? How many times have we heard thunder this winter? And then we had, yeah. But that's the recommendation that I have. I did meet with all of our senior staff, our principals, and we asked for input because when you start getting towards the end of the year, you don't have a whole lot of days to play with. If you choose to keep the 14th as an optional teacher work day, then there will have to be another day that we designate as a no day for 10-month employees, which means there's not any pay for that particular day.
Let me see it, Dr. Jones. What is the pleasure of the board? I can say that when we met last week, we somewhat discussed this calendar. And Dr. Shotwell explained it just like you explained it tonight. But without the last part you just mentioned, it got me kind of hesitating now. Because what I said last week was make March 4th. I'm okay with, but the 14th, being that is the end of the grading period, I felt like that still needed to be an optional teacher work day, so that teachers could get their grading in and things of that nature. This is at the end of the grading period, but at that time, you didn't mention that,
I did more research.
okay.
Yeah, because what it is, it affects 10-month employees because they're on a defined amount of time. And so if you still kept that as an optional work day, then I'd have to go back and make one of the days that we were closed, make it a no day for those folks. Right now, we do that, we're gonna set some things up for them to be able to make their time up at the end of the year for some of it, and we're also gonna be banking some time during some designated weeks to be able to make up, so they don't necessarily, if they don't want to take leave. That'd be for 10, 11, and 12-month employees.
Okay, so for one day, because the fourth is gonna be taken care of, because we're gonna be in school. And as far as the calendar is concerned, when the calendar was done last year, we have our, hours that we're obligated to go to school. That our
Mhm,
students
that's true.
have, their instructional hours. It's just the fact that our, 10-month and 11-month employees
Would be in.
would be affected by this. And, as a board, we need to decide and come up with something, some type of policy for the near future, because there's gonna be some more snow days down the road, and for years to come. I don't know how it's been set up in the past, but this is something that we need to pay attention to and get something in writing now before it happens again. Because I don't remember, we've had snow days before, and we haven't run into this problem ever before, I don't think. Not since I've been on the board, anyway.
This just makes sure that when the people come in for doing the audit, with everybody's pay and those things, and also auditing about whether the students are in session or not, is really what it comes down to. I mean, I've had such bad winters that I've had to bring in a team of people on my staff, and we sit there and argue for 2.5 hours, trying to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. Instead, we were speaking French, Spanish, and Portuguese, and I kept telling them, we're all speaking Romance language, but we're not all saying the same thing sometimes. And, right now, it's easy. It's an easy fix, but if you get more snow, it's gonna make it, interesting.
Exactly. And as I said, this is one of the things that we need to actually add on to our work session next time we meet.
Ms. Hale,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Were you done?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so my question, I know you said that we're talking about, are we talking about our classified staff as well? I couldn't hear it for a moment because it kind of went out, Dr. Shotwell. So are we talking about our custodial staff, our cafeteria staff?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
can you repeat how you said that time would be done?
For the part about the no day, or are you talking about, later in the, to allow them to be able to make up their time? On those remote days and such.
So, yeah, I guess that's my concern, because I know that if we look at it, and I'm kind of like what Ms. Hale said, at the end of the grading period, our teachers will need some time that they will have, to be able to get grades and stuff in. Are there different types of, I know it's like kite learning and things like that our custodial staff and our cafeteria staff can do to make up that time as well?
Yes, ma'am, we're gonna include that. I'm gonna designate some of the, days at the end of the year for those, remote days for them to be able to have a chance to make up that time. They will be designated, so that way we're not dealing with folks, doing it all over the place. We want to designate a day that's gonna count for this day and so forth. And then any of the other folks, they can add time on each week, because like they can make up 8 hours in a little over 5 hours, because you have to give them time and a half. And so you count the time by time and a half. So we're gonna try to work that out so that they don't want to take any leave, they can do that as well.
Okay, so we do need to discuss that, Ms. Hale, in our, so for future, like for makeup, things like that.
And a lot of times it's dictated by how the general statutes are written in terms of the required days. Our teachers are on 215-day contract.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. But we're gonna get the word out tomorrow. After whatever decision that y'all make tonight.
Okay. All right, so what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the calendar with the chair.
With both changes? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and properly second to approve the calendar with both changes. Any questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Aye. Nay. Ms. Bird Robinson?
Say it again. It's going in and out, Ms. Hale, so some things are kind of hard to hear.
We're voting on our calendar.
Okay,
The motion's been put on the table and we voted. So I'm waiting on for your vote.
do I agree with what Dr. Shotwell said, or and that's taken away that workday from the teachers, correct?
Yes.
I'm against that.
Okay. So, Ms. Jenkins?
I voted.
What did you say?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the vote goes 4-2. 4 yeas, 2 nays. Let the record reflect. Okay. The next item on the agenda is going to be ESS update.
Yes, ma'am, and I know it's not the 6th month, but we wanted to share with you the information that we had. Just to let you know exactly how everything has been, going along. We talked about, you can see on the PowerPoint, the folks that are here, they have really been working with our finance folks and the schools to make sure that the training is completed. We've got folks working from September, when we started it, through January, the end of January, we had a 96% fill rate. I mean, I have not heard one person come to me and say, I'm tired of covering classes during my planning period or during my time off. And you got principals in the back, you want to ask them the same thing, but it did what we're asking it to do, and that is to get people to come in here. And again, the other advantage is if you have a teacher that ends up like retiring, this is the corporation. They could come back in here and it doesn't affect their earning cap at all with retirement because it's going through them. You can see that there were 693 filled absences, only 30 unfilled absences to get to 96%. With teachers, unfilled was 29 of those 30 days, a TA was 1 day. With the field, you can see it's 679 and 14. And so the teacher fill rate was 96% and the TAs were 93%. And it just, you go through the process here, total absences were 723. With that pie chart, TA absences, you can see what they were. Vacancies, that's the lion's share of the numbers. 490 days are because of long-term subs being in our schools, 161 days for sick leave, 51 days for professional leave, 15 for personal, 5 for annual leave, and 1 for parental involvement. So, if you really take those vacancies out, the numbers seem a little bit more reasonable when you're looking at them. And then days of the week. This should not come as a surprise. Friday and Thursday were the 2 highest days. I mean, anyway, as Mama said, you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But anyway, that's also something that we look at too, because it's gonna impact how things happen at school. And then TA absences, those really were based on at the schools. And again, those high numbers are because of long-term subs that we've had in classes. So the STEM high school has several long-term subs in there. That's why their number is a little bit high up there. And then some of the recruit strategies that they've had landing pages specifically to Weldon City School jobs. They've posted jobs on Indeed, Glassdoor, Career Builder, Facebook, local. They put things out around local retailers, hospitals, churches, libraries, the Department of Labor's office, colleges, and tech schools. And they've had virtual events as they need them. And then they've also been, they've advertised with flyers and lawn signs at local businesses and community events. And we've got one right out here too. And then, as they keep trying to do, they're recruiting. So we're just, I've been pleased with them, you know, hopefully you had gotten positive information back as well. If there's ever any indication that somebody wasn't, paid for a particular job, it's rectified and resolved ASAP. It's not something that they've got to wait weeks for. Anyone have any questions? All right. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shotwell.
Yes, ma'am.
What we learned, turn it out.
I don't do it.
No, it's done. I'm done.
Man, you got to have an office tomorrow. You just wait. If you notice on our training, I kept getting up, because I would notice some of
I know,
y'all getting the
it
chills.
would get hot
And then I'd see other people over here fanning, I'm like, time to go put it back on. Try to be a little bit more sensitive about that. Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you,
an
Mr.
officer and a gentleman.
And thank you, Mr. Lee Easter. Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. Again, it is always an honor to be before you as the board chairwoman of Weldon City Schools. Each month, I am reminded of the incredible dedication, resilience, and passion that our school community, that make our school community so special. Our students continue to inspire us with their determination and achievements. Our teachers and staff pour their hearts into guiding and shaping your minds, and our families and community partners stand with us, believing in the potential of every child. Your efforts do not go unnoticed, and I am truly grateful for each and every one of you. Education is more than just lessons in the classroom. It is about shaping futures, building confidence, and ensuring that every child who walks through our doors know that they are supported, valued, and capable of greatness. That is why we must continue working together, parents, educators, board members, and the entire community to create the best possible opportunities for our students. Weldon City Schools is not just striving for improvement. We are working to set a new standard, to be a model district for the state, one that others can look to as an example of what's possible when a community comes together with a shared vision for its children. We are committed to making our schools places of excellence where every student has the foundation to dream big and achieve even more. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for the role you play in this journey. Change does not happen overnight, but through dedication, teamwork, and unwavering belief in our children, we are making a difference. Let's continue to keep pushing forward, lifting each other up, and striving to make Weldon City Schools a place of pride, excellence, and endless opportunities and possibilities. Thank you. Next item on the agenda. I would like for Ms. Deborah Williams and her family to come up.
She just on by.
Okay. This evening, Thursday, February 27th, 2025, the Weldon City Schools Board of Education would like to officially honor and celebrate the extraordinary contributions of James Tank Williams Sr. for his 10 years of dedicated service to the Weldon City Schools Board of Education from 2014 to 2024. His commitment to the betterment of our students, staff, and the entire community has left a permanent mark, and his leadership will continue to inspire us for years to come. Tank's famous words, it'll be all right. Echo his unwavering optimism, positivity, and steadfast leadership, even during our most challenging times. These words have been a source of comfort and encouragement, reminding us to stay hopeful and resilient. We extend our deepest gratitude to Tank's family this evening for their continued support and for sharing his time with us during countless late nights and meetings. His presence is deeply missed by all. In recognition of his service and the lasting impact he has had on our district, the Weldon City Schools Board of Education resolves to honor the life of the late James Tank Williams Sr. for his exemplary dedication and service, and we will continue to keep his family in our thoughts and prayers. At this time, we would like to present a plaque to the family of James Tank Williams Sr. as a symbol of our deep appreciation for his unwavering dedication and the lasting impact he made on the Weldon City Schools District. This plaque is a token of our gratitude and a heartfelt reminder of how much we miss him. His legacy of leadership, kindness, and commitment will be forever cherished. The plaque says, "In loving memory of James Tank Williams Sr. With deep gratitude, we honor the dedicated services of James Tank Williams Sr., who faithfully served on the Weldon City School Board of Education an entire decade from 2014 to 2024. His unwavering commitment to the students, staff, and community will be forever remembered. And his infamous words, 'It'll be all right, Miss Tiffany.' A sweet reminder of his positivity, leadership, and enduring spirit. Thank you for your service, Tank. You will be greatly missed. Weldon City School Board of Education, December 2024. Thank you so much. And that is also his nameplate. We hope that this gesture serves as a tribute to his contributions and as a reminder to his family that his spirit and positive influence will never be forgotten. Thank you for sharing him with us.
We got another one for you.
Yes,
Yeah, it's.
Ms. Deborah Williams. This is presented to Ms. Deborah Williams for 17 years of dedicated services to the students of Weldon City Schools, February 11, 2019 to June 30, 2024. And we had this done in June 2024, but she was by her husband's side at that time.
That's right.
It's never too late to still honor her. We thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Oh, you did.
You got it on my phone.
Oh, okay. We got one.
Good.
Thank you so much, TJ.
My AirPod is in Miss
Oh,
Matilda if he at work.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet. Congratulations. And thank y'all.
Can the entire board, the rest of the board come up and take a picture with us? Cause right here. He said he's the same. It's a little bigger, this here. It'll be more space, but that's the attorney's way.
Oh, okay.
This way, so Ms. Lee Easton can be in front of you. Ms. Lee Easton. In front of you.
Oh, okay.
Here, I think I'm on here.
Okay.
Got everybody. Thank you.
All right. You. All right. Good man.
All right, the next item on the agenda is financial report, Ms. Kathy Key.
Come on, run them numbers. Come on, run them numbers. Run them numbers.
Yeah, good evening, Board Chair, Ms. Hale, board members, Dr. Shotwell, and all others in attendance. Included in your board package, you have received a copy of the February financial statements for your review. Do you have any questions on the financial statements? Okay. And at this time, I would like to present the following budget amendments for your approval. Local amendments number 6 and 7. State amendments numbers 22 through 24. And federal amendments number 6 and 7. Do you have any questions?
Okay, Ms. Key, you said
The
22
local
and
67.
22 through 24, so it's.
23.
It's not 23, 22, and 4, okay.
22.
And federal 767.
You didn't get 23
Oh, yeah, I do have it, state.
Yeah.
State, I do have it.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
22 through 24.
for state?
Yes.
And
It's
local
on
and
the back.
federal?
Oh, yeah, it's on the back.
6 and 7. Oh, front and back, okay. Flip over.
It was a test.
Flip over, see?
Okay. Now,
Finish your hot seat.
can I get a motion to approve, the amendments? I'm sorry, you finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she's fanning, the bill's back there freezing, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendments as presented.
Is there a second? It's been motion and properly second to approve the amendments for tonight, for the budget amendments. All those, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, and the budget amendments have been approved. Thank you so much, Ms. Kidd.
Thank you, Ms.
All right.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is, gift cards for Wellington students and employees.
Yes, ma'am. We have, approximately 192, employees. What we're proposing is that if you could allocate $4,800, make sure that we cover everybody, that, for a $25 Walmart gift card, for each full-time employee, part-time employee, and long-term subs. The gift cards would be distributed, sometime in March of, 2025. What we would do is we would order the cards from Walmart and have them come in. And then when folks would get them, there would be, their gift card number would match up for them to sign. We have to do that, meet what the auditor says.
Absolutely.
All right, we have to approve that? Yeah, we do this in 2040. All right, can I get a motion to approve, the gift cards for the school employees?
I have a question before we go into that.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Shotwell, did you say $25?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that all we could do? Is that,
Well, I'll just say this, I mean, I'm still trying to be very judicious in terms of how our local funding is working. Because we still haven't, I told you, we've hit the cliff, but we haven't hit the splash with the ESSER effect. It's gonna be another $200,000 that we're gonna have to find for the upcoming year. And so, this is kind of in line with what other folks have done in some other districts. Nobody's doing it around here, so I got a feeling after tonight, some other districts are gonna be wanting to do the same thing, but this is my recommendation for $25. If you're doubling that, then you're gonna double the amount of money that I'm requesting here.
I have a question. You said how much? 200,000.
that's how much you said we'll already be short?
Well, that's what we're gonna have to make up for in 26, 27. Because this year, we're not short on it because we were able to use our ESSER funding to cover salaries for July, August, and September. mean, I do think that, you know, I mean, this is a gesture that you're saying that you appreciate everything that they're doing. And I think the other thing, by you all allowing us to pay the teachers, the state supplement in June, the first week of June, is also another way that you're showing your appreciation, because it's not gonna be impacted by their regular salary. It's gonna be, taxes are gonna be taken out on that money and that money alone.
Yeah, wasn't a motion on the table? On the floor? Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, and so forth, that has been approved. Dr. Shaw. Second, was it you, Mr. Vegas, or Ms. Jenkins? The second, you. All right, next item is winter sports supplement.
And that was an information item, and
Okay.
you all already been given that.
All right, next item is Ms. Geneva Faulkner with Federal Programs and Student Services.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and those in attendance. I have the opportunity to bring before you today something outside of federal programs and student services, but it is one of my areas that I'm responsible for, and that's the restart application for Weldon Elementary Global Academy. If you look inside your packet, you have the agenda item that kind of gives the background information as it relates to restart, the general statute that allows it to exist. And the fact that Weldon Elementary, the district applied in 2018-19 for Weldon Elementary to operate as a restart school. But because of the data during that time that came back throughout the course of those years, Weldon Elementary did not meet the goals that the state had set out in terms of approving the restart application. So in order for us to continue to operate in the 25-26 school year and beyond, we have to reapply for that status. This is the step that is required. The board has to actually approve for the district to apply for the fast track, which means that we're already in the restart. We've already gone through the planning phase, initial phase, but we want to continue July 1 to still operate as a restart school. That's the fast track application, and it does require board action in order for us to submit that application that is due tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's just me going online and signing. Everything's been done, but I can't do it until you all approve it. But that's on consent agenda for you to approve that. But if you had any questions about it, yeah, now would be the time to kind of ask. And we have been working with our folks from the state on this.
I have,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question,
Yes, ma'am.
because, and I would like to say that, when Restart was first introduced to us, I wasn't a fan of Restart. But we're in it now, and I want to know, how many, I mean, as far as our staff that's certified. I know it can't be, it had to be at least 50-50, right?
That's been
How are we with that within our?
We're improving. A lot more staff members working with HR have gotten into the initial licensure or lateral entry, connected with the university system to start that application process. Some had license that had expired, so they had things they had to do to start back. HR will be the most authoritative source to talk about the licensure component. But I know that based upon the equity plan, we're in a better place than we were last year at Weldon Elementary.
And part of what we've done with the restructuring HR this year too, they were putting people on a timeline, that if they're not meeting the timeline, then that's gonna bring consequences instead of just being in the job and not doing anything to work towards certification. Because we know that the goal of the board is to have 100% of our teachers certified, and that's what we're trying to work towards. The last time I saw one, I think it was either right before Christmas or right after Christmas, of the 60 classroom teachers, 30 had full certification. So you got 30 that are in some range of either being an emergency license or almost completed. So it's in that range.
So what kind of timeline are we looking at as far as getting them to complete them, for them complete?
It depends. I know I sound like a lawyer now, because they all, you gotta say that every time, don't you? You
Can't
do,
deny that.
yeah. That's the first thing they learn. Just like finance officers learn the word no in class. Anyway, it's gonna really depend on what their license is. If they got an emergency license, there's several things they've gotta get done this particular year in order to get it renewed for the following school year.
Okay.
Those that are on alternative licenses, it's gonna depend on where they are in the program. And at the beginning of this year, every teacher who was fully certified was given a plan of what they needed in order to get a continuing license of some sort for the 25-26 school year. So there's places in there, and there's been checkups where we've asked, how are things going? Where are you with your coursework? So if they come back and say, hey, I've never gotten contacted, that's not true.
So you know what they all know what they need to do.
Yes, sir, they do. And some of them have a pretty tall order. But they said that, okay, and so, if they get it done by June 30th, I hope they do. I hope all of them are able to continue on. But, our goal is to have certified teachers, 100%. Even though we have the restart flexibility, I still want to have that.
So I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
Okay, because we're talking about the elementary school now. But what if we did not, as a district, decide to go into it? And I know that it's kind of hard now because we're
I mean, you could stop, but
there's, if we stop, then we're not gonna be able to,
no, we
we won't
won't
be able to
be,
make it.
right.
We're not
Because,
gonna make it. Just be honest.
because what will happen is, if there's a certification issue with a teacher under normal, school finance, at the end of the year, if it's not resolved, the bill comes to the local. And we have to pay for that teacher's salary for the entire year. And so that's what you risk. With Restart, there is a cushion in there. But I do believe that the commitment that you all have made and what you've told me that you expect, I think we put everybody on the right course. And if they're not meeting that, then we're gonna go in a different direction. And like the other thing that we've been working on, some of the people with EPI, where they bring folks in. We've already had interviews for a lot of the key positions that we know are gonna be vacant for next year.
Okay.
We're getting that done ahead of time instead of trying to be reactive, we're being proactive. So you'll have certified teachers coming in, like we've got a math one that we'll be bringing to sharing with y'all once we get it all completed.
Okay. I was just asking because elementary school is a huge concern for me, so.
It is, but y'all gave me the opportunity to put a good leader over there and to do some other things, and I think that we're really turning the corner on it.
Okay.
The level of expectation of what we're expecting from the students and teachers is different. And I feel like that we're gonna be very pleasantly surprised at the end of the year.
And that's why I said in my report, I believe that we are turning the corner. We are. It feels a little bit better, so. I just want to know about the Restart in
Yeah.
particular because, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan, but we gotta do what we gotta do in order to move forward.
And it does give us the flexibility
Exactly.
for using the finances, just like the charter schools do.
Mhm.
And that's really what it gives us, that flexibility that the charter schools have. Pretty much about 85% of it. They still get a little bit more, but but for us, it does make a big difference.
And the calendar flexibility.
And the calendar flexibility. We had public records requests about that, asking about how we can do an early start, and I'm just like, we don't got nothing to hide. We're approved by the state. You got a cooperative early college grant. And then for us, the other three schools being on Restart. So we're We're not violating calendar law.
Dr.
Nice.
Shotwell,
Yes, ma'am.
do we have any additional ones coming up? Because I don't want us to wait until the last minute to decide whether we're going to approve it or not. I see this one is due tomorrow. Do we have any other applications coming up for
No,
any
ma'am.
other school? Okay. None this
No.
year, 25. We don't have any more.
No, ma'am.
The one is the middle schools.
Next year.
Next year. And so, you know, and honestly, you know, this was originally slated for last Thursday.
Mm.
And things, and it's not unusual for us to have something approved and then the next day's deadline. I've done that before with Title I plans, AIG. It's just trying to get things through and meet the board schedule without having to put folks out. But it's not an issue, because as soon as y'all say you approve, I'm going into Gmail and signing it, saying that you all approved it tonight.
And we received a notification in late October that the state was not going to reauthorize WIDA for the upcoming school year.
Yeah, and we've been working on it since.
So at this time, are you requesting them,
It's
approval? Okay. Can I get a motion?
On the consent agenda?
It is.
Okay.
You want them to vote now or on
It-
consent?
It's at the board's pleasure.
Okay.
This.
Ms. Jenkins?
I make a motion to approve.
Oh, you going
Second.
Is the motion is probably second to approve the reauthorization of Wellness Elementary Restart application. Are there any questions? If not, can I get your usual voting sound? Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Jenkins?
I said that.
Okay, Ms. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
And me? Aye. All right, ayes have it, and we will go along with the reauthorization of the restart application. Thank you so much.
For your information, as I bring to you each month, it's just the federal programs budgets, so that you can see what was approved at the beginning of the year, the purpose that's in the same, it's the same slide from when you approved the initial Title I, Title II, the CSI, Title IV, and RLIS grant. And then the additional slide is to show you where we are with our expenditures in those grants. So I'll continue to do that so that you know where we are with spend down. As Dr. Shotwell mentioned, we are still in limbo about whether or not the title funds, the federal funds, are going to be allocated out to us beyond what we have currently. I did receive confirmation that what we have would not be taken back. But any new monies that would come from the state, that usually doesn't come until October, would be, that's when we usually get our first drop of funds after the approval. We don't know whether we would get additional money or not. So I've been meeting with each school improvement team, which they're the ones that devise the Title I plans, the school improvement plans, to make sure that they are fully aware of what's in their budgets and how we have to be strategic about using our year 5 money to make sure that any salaries are in their budgets, that they account for those salaries through at least October. And if we were to not receive any additional money with those salaries, we have enough money to cover those salaries throughout, so that they can start having in their mind what's important for them to keep. And if they have to trim, what are the things that their school improvement and their needs assessments say. So I've been basically trying to educate them as much as possible about their role in the process of budgeting out their site-based funds. The district has funds that we have in the Title I and the other budgets, but a certain amount of money by federal requirements have to be allocated out to the schools, which in turn will budget those. So I've met with 2 schools, a third one we were supposed to meet yesterday, but the teachers went on a field trip with their students. They didn't get back in time, so we scheduled that again for next week. So I have 2 schools completed and 2 more schools to go. We would have been finished if it wasn't for the snow, but we had to reschedule. And so they'll have enough time to make sure that they meet the finances deadline of March 31st for their requisitions as well. Again, that's just for information purposes. We did have a federal consolidated monitoring visit. We are still waiting to see the outcome of that. We did receive a lot of positive comments, especially related to our our schools, our teachers, in the classrooms. I had to kind of pull them out of a few classrooms in order for us to stay on track because they were enjoying the students and the teachers and the lessons as well. And the parent involvement centers, they were really excited. You'll see some pictures of some of the classes that they visited and the parent engagement centers at the elementary school, which was the largest because of the space they had. But the information was adequate and equivalent in both of the in all four of the sites. One of them is a combined site. The middle school and the high school share their space. As we're preparing for the next school year, it requires us to have stakeholder input. So you'll see the survey that's available there, the stakeholder groups that we're trying to reach out to. We will have cards similar to like a postcard size that will have information and a QR code and the web address so that parents and stakeholders can give their input into the Title I plan, the Title II, Title IV, RLIS plan as well. The current grant openings, Dr. Shotwell did mention a new award that we received. I did update the slide, the Safe Schools grant, so it lists the amount for each of those and a screenshot of the letter. One more.
Next.
Yes. So we are, the only grant that's left for us to apply for now is a new Title IV competitive grant. So we're just waiting on that application so that we can submit that grant as well.
Ms. Faulkner.
Well, they're faint, but I think I heard Ms. Faulkner.
Miss, yes, I have a question. The 21st Century Grant, when is that due? And if we receive it, when will we be notified?
The 21st Century Grant was due last week.
We did,
But it says
Miss-
pending. Did we submit it?
Ms. Bird Robinson, we did not submit the 21st Century Grant. It was due on last week. We did not submit it due to a time. We missed the timeline. I'm just being very honest with you, and I take it upon myself wholly. I can accept full responsibility for not submitting that grant. I did not realize it was due at 12 noon. I thought it was due at 5. And at about 12:15, I realized that we had missed the deadline. So again, I do accept responsibility for that, but we have started to look at some other things to compensate. We had already began looking at some additional things anyway, since it is a competitive grant, we were not guaranteed to receive it, so we had already had a contingent plan in place just in case we didn't receive it. So that's what we plan to follow through with.
And also, when you put together a grant like that, a lot of that information that we've gathered will be helpful for other grants that we're applying for too. So it wasn't done in vain.
So I guess we need to go ahead and start looking at those things so that we won't, we all make, mistakes and things happen, but so that we will not miss another deadline.
But we do have a lot of federal funding and some state funding that'll help us out to do, because we were applying for the summer program. We'll be able to do at least a modified version of what we had planned. So like I said, it's not all gone to, it's not all for naught, but we're going to be able to take a lot of that and be able to use a little bit. It'll be a smaller size, but we're still going to be able to do something for them this summer.
And the Title IV grant will also allow us to do some of the similar things that the 21st Century Grant. So we can use those same narratives and processes.
And Ms. Falcon,
Yes, ma'am.
the one you have up there submitting, the Safer Schools Grant Part B, that's the one that we were approved for.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That was the one that we just got.
Yeah, okay.
And that's huge, because the equipment is something that we've been looking at for both of the schools. Because y'all have mentioned early on when I was here about the security for people walking in. And so we're gonna get some equipment to upgrade at the middle high school for that. And because we've got that glass wall implemented over there, we're gonna take the ones that we've got at the high school and put them in over there. So people are still gonna have to walk through a metal detector when they go to the elementary school.
Okay.
Okay.
I know you were like, where are you going?
Well, yeah.
Y'all can see how my wife feels sometimes. Yeah.
We will have to bring that one back to you because we received about half of what we
Yeah.
asked for. So we'll have to prioritize which things are gonna make us the safest
Okay.
on that, within that budget.
Sounds good.
For chronically absent students, I did bring that before you in December, but it just wanted to share where we were. We talked about absences and then we're talking about chronically absent. The federal determination is students who miss 10% or more of the school year. So district-wide, 35% of our students are deemed as chronically absent. And as we mentioned today in our meeting, we can't teach them if we can't reach them, and we can't reach them if they're not present. So we are looking at a campaign called Strive for Less Than 5. You have to strive for 55, but we need our students to strive to be less than 5 days out of school. And that will include a marketing campaign. It lists there the strategies for improving attendance rate. We won't go into that, but you'll see that we are working on those things. And there is a difference between being truant and being chronically absent. Truant is what the court system talks about. That's what keeps the parents out of court. The students are not truant. They bring in the excuses. But chronically absent means no matter what the reason is, health related, approved absence for a field trip with the family. All of those things are allowed to be excused absences, but they still mean the student is not connected to learning. So that's where the chronically absent number comes from. So we want to try to keep the students engaged in learning as many days as possible. So I did put that by school, so you have the report of the number of students at each school that are considered chronically absent. That monthly report that talks about by grade level, our absence rate. And the final information, as I shared, I will make sure you're updated each month about our McKinney-Vento students. We currently have 51 identified. That's an increase of 8 students. It's probably gone up since then because I believe we received another student on Friday. With the count of 43 was the last time. So now we're at 51. And again, that was as of when our presentation had to be submitted. And I believe we received an additional student last Friday. That is all I have to present.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next item is Dr. Bell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I will take my space right here, as everyone else has done. So from the world of curriculum and instruction, just a few things I'd like to cover. We are currently working on our summer plan. I know this is February, but believe it or not, the summer will be here before you know it. So we are working on our summer plan. And that summer plan, we hope to be able to bring to you next month that will encompass our retesting time that will take place as part of our summer plan, our summer reading camp, our credit recovery, summer school portion at the high school. We would also like to offer an AIG, something with AIG this summer, maybe a 1-week camp. We are also looking at partnering with the Center for Energy to do some wonderful things this summer, as well as Ms. Davis has a health grant that she was able to get. So there's a great deal of other things that we are planning to include in our summer plan that we will bring to you next month. On this particular slide here, our retesting plan. Once our students are out, we will bring them back for retesting purposes, and that will span from June the 2nd until June the 12th, I believe, for about a total of 8 days. And on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, they will retest. So we hope that those students who are currently within about 5 to 8 points of showing proficiency after they take the EOC and EOGs, those are the students that we want to identify and target for the remediation piece to bring them back in. Because there's a greater chance that those students could possibly be pushed over and show proficiency on the EOC and EOG. So that's part of that plan. And as I said, we have many other components to look at as well. As far as our instructional updates, we do have iReady in the district as a pilot. We were fortunate enough to get iReady, another resource that we have. Weldon has many, many resources. We do have many, but iReady is one that we've added to it. And the only thing we paid for was the professional development part. iReady probably would cost us about $80,000 if we were to purchase it right now. So, if you will go back to the first one more, okay. So another piece that we met with the principals and we talked about, since we're at this point in the school year, we view this time from now until the end of the school year as being critical as far as working our way up to that point of testing. So what we thought about was trying to find something in addition, not trying to put any added stress on the principals or the students and teachers, but we do want our kids to show proficiency. We want them to do well. We don't want them to just come to school every day and get remote memorization. We want them to learn. So we were trying to figure out what else we could incorporate into our school day that would help our students out. And we posed the ideal of adding in a remediation block, an intervention block, like a power hour or something where you drop everything and that's all that you're doing with your students. You're engaged in intervention. And the principals were wonderful to work with. We set our targets, we set our deadlines. This is something that we want to start the first week of March, which is next week. So they went back in and met with their sit teams and came up with a breakdown of a new schedule for the most part. And that schedule now includes an intervention block that they will start. So if you go out at about, what is yours, Mr. Hopkins, 11 o'clock, then you should see intervention going on throughout the high school. You should see intervention going on at a specific time throughout the middle school. You should see the same thing at WEGA. The plan is to hold everyone accountable because we're all well done at this point. So we will be going in doing spot checks. The curriculum team will, I will, as well as others. And that's the expectation, is that we see those things taking place at that time that we've asked to take place, because we know that if we are to put those additional things in, we're doing it to benefit our students. We're not just doing it to be doing it, but to benefit our students. And again, with the intervention block, principals have been asked to pull their strongest teachers to provide remediation for their students. They are to take their students and use the diagnostic data, classroom data, whatever other data they have, and group their students according to skill. What skills are our students lacking in? Where do we need to focus at? And pull your strongest individuals to remediate those kids. So you may go in and see a counselor. If a counselor has an English background and can work with our students and provide remediation, that's what we want. So that's what you should say. So this is only an example on this page of something similar that will be going on at Weldon Elementary. And if you flip to the next one, there's an example of the high school. And those are, like I said, strictly examples of what's to take place. On our last slide, I believe, simply updates. Our AIG is going very, very well. I just told Ms. Fran today that I thought she was doing a wonderful job with AIG. Our students have gone to North Carolina Central University and had a wonderful college tour. We had a representative to come from the Federal Reserve Bank this week. Again, doing just a wonderful job, has many, many other things in the workings, a whole page of things to go from now until the end of the school year. And we are getting ready to test our children next week is the target date to test them toward the end of next week. That will be testing all of our third grade students and testing any new students that have come in the district in grades 3 through 11. We're not testing 12th graders because they're seniors, they're getting ready to leave. We've already talked about the 21st Century Community Learning Center grant again. And the only thing I will say to that is, as I said before, I take sole responsibility for that. It was on my back, but what we are doing is putting other things in to supplement to make sure that we can offer our students a summer component that will benefit them this summer, that will offer enrichment as well as academics. Our plasma grant, Ms. Robin Davis received notification that we have a plasma games grant that has been approved, and she will talk about that a little bit. In addition, we sent 3 individuals to a training on honors portfolio. Those 3 individuals being Mrs. Anissa Robinson, Ms. Jennifer Friend, and Ms. LaQuisha Hudson. They went and gained the training in honors portfolio. And we asked why, because we don't have honors portfolios in place as we should. So if DPI were to just drop everything and say, we'll be there on March the 15th to look at your honors portfolios, we wouldn't have any. So what we want to do is get ahead of it. Since we realize that it is something missing, we want to get ahead of it and begin to put those things in place. So we will use the information that those individuals gained and use it to begin pulling those portfolios together this summer. In addition to that, we sent Mr. Wood and Mrs. Fortier to STEM East. That was like a business venture type thing that they gained information from and brought that back. Just this week, we went to Cognia Conference down at Wrightsville Beach. There was a team of us, about 7 people who went down. And there were many sessions that we attended, many sessions, good sessions on continuous improvement. And we plan to, at some point, have a round table and talk about the sessions that we went to and decide how we're going to do PD to roll that out so that it will benefit the district. Other than that, we're starting to work on the PD calendar. You notice I say starting to work because it takes time. So we're starting to put these things in place so that they won't get the best of us. The job is for us to get the best of it. So, any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. I'll stand over here because I don't think I'll be able to fit over there. I stand before you to present to you EC updates. In your package, you have the district disability categories and our number of students under the 14 categories as well as our 504 students. We have our district compliance, which is 90.5%. And we have some exciting news that we see that we are pleased to have our behavior specialist with us, Ms. Latonia Vincent. She started last Monday. She has hit the ground running, and I'm pleased to have her on our team. For now, she's going to be at the middle school and high school. Mr. Hopkins and Ms. Tyler were gracious enough to find a spot for her so that she could be able to work out of that school. Pre-K registration will begin on March 6th. It's going to take place at the library. I'm not from Weldon, so the library. Ms. Turner has already gone around the city. You should be seeing the flyers up in the grocery store. She's gone to the cleaners, downtown, Family Dollar, just anywhere that our parents would be so that they will know. Please tell everybody you know. Come down March 6th and let's get our babies registered for pre-K. And they can just come if they're not sure what to bring, just tell them to come, we'll help them. We'll be there to help them get them signed up, and that'll give us our numbers so we can see what we're working with for next year. March 6th. And if any of you want to drop through there, feel free to drop through. Or what time? Start at 9. From 9 to 3. Anybody have any questions?
Good evening. Good evening. All right, so for CTE and, testing updates, so, as Dr. Boone mentioned, we did receive the Plasma Games grant. So the Plasma Games grant, is to help bring engaging STEM opportunities in the classroom. So we actually have 6 teachers who's gonna be participating in the Plasma Games grant, and they have their first professional development on March 13th, which is an early release date. We were also approved for the Health Careers Promotion Grant, and that was $25,000. And it's to help encourage students to pursue careers in the healthcare field. So we plan to use that money for field trips, a healthcare career fair. We want to do some kind of summer camps where the kids can get some type of CPR training, practice checking pulse and blood pressure and different things like that. And hopefully throw in some anatomy lessons like with dissections and things like that. All right, any question about those 2 grants before I go on? All right, so I listed some of the student work-based learning opportunities that our students are participating in. So at the top, you see the picture of the 4A students. So, what this program do is allow the students, they're working with the guy from White Motors. And when they finish the class, they'll actually be certified to work at any Ford place, in the state of North Carolina. So the class requires 330 hours, and they are currently going to class from Tuesday to Thursday from 5:30 to 8:30. We have 7 students that's actually taking the natural hair care class on campus. We got 2 student interns, so one is actually interning at Uyghur, and then the other one is working with Justin Moore with Urban Leaders Go. We are starting, well, we actually teach child development now, so in the fall, we plan to pick up the early childhood one so that we can join, hopefully, the apprenticeship with Halifax Community College in this town. And we're gonna also start to introduce business ethics and law. We're teaching that class at Arvik right now, and the kids love that class, so we're gonna go ahead and bring that class to the high school. All right, testing updates. So we actually have, with the access for ELL, because we were out for inclement weather, we changed that date to March the 3rd and the 4th. So we have 3 students that will be taking that test. Spring work keys were actually given today, so we should be at 100% completion for the 12th grade CTE completers. ACT will be given at both schools, both high schools on March the 11th. North Carolina STEM 1 will be given for grade 11, and the window is March 11th through the 14th. And then we have benchmarks at all schools on March the 17th through the 21st. Any questions? All right, thank you. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda. Thank you so much, Dr. Boone, Ms. Bullock, and Ms. Davis. Thank you so much. Now we'll have Mr. Hunter.
Good evening, board chair, board members, Dr. Shower, colleagues. I just want to give you a few updates from operations and sanitation. We're still working with Tower Heating and Air with the chill at the middle school. They have completed the well of the barrel pipes. That's completed. So now next week they're gonna come in and do have to do a hot trace, as well as they're scheduling the startup date with the carrier patent rep. So when we get that date, they can come in and fire the chiller up and see action occur. With the CO office expansion, as I reported before, we had to, bring in the inspector, which is from Tarboro. He kind of put us in a little setback, but now we're back on track. We still have things, they're completely putting up the sheetrock to meet his specifications that threw us behind, for the walls and the ceiling. We're now starting, they're just about finished installing the ductwork for the AC units and installing the light fixtures. So, we're pretty much back on track and should be finished with that, getting that project finished here pretty soon. With Ratio and CTE, we had a meeting on the last Wednesday. We had a virtual meeting and where we discussed a little bit of talking about the furniture package, where we are working with Blankenship, who has been looking at it and determining this furniture scope, making sure that we get the things that when we had our meeting, things that we had selected to go in the new school. Also, having material testing going on with a company called Terracon that we brought on. So they've been conducting soil samples, doing soil inspections, checking the rebar and concrete. SNME, which is another material testing company, they have completed the abatement of the area. If you've been by there, you'll see, but they brought in soil as well as different rocks and not concrete, but like crush and run to build up the surface where you'll see the school is going to be at. So, so we get an area. If you had an aerial view, you would be able to see the platform where the school would basically be, or the primary section of the school would be sitting at. They've had Dominion Power come in and they've had the transformer in place. You can't see it from the road if you're traveling by because it's closer to Sneed and County where that junction point, which is very good.
That's what they were digging today, right?
No, that's already in place.
Okay.
The transformer's already been put out and it's set up, so they just running wires and cables and stuff, to be branched out wherever it needs to go. Some other site work is going on, some soil erosion. I have I took some photos. I didn't take the photos. I didn't state that correct. These are photos that they have a program called Autodesk. And so some of the engineers go around and they be taking photos of the site so you can see what the updates look like. So the photos are not the best in the world, but it does give you a little idea of what it's looking like, what is going on. So I believe you can scroll through it. So they're putting the skimmers and the risers, which is like those ponds that you see on sites, making sure where the water drainage pipes will be setting at. You'll see all of that. It's being completed. This area here is by where the old driveway that took you to the back of by the cafeteria. So this is where the new driveway is gonna be taken to the middle school. So they're getting that section is being built up. Like I said, some more drainage pipeline is being put in place, as well as that's the completed area of from the last picture at the top. But they've covered up the piping that's building up that area. So yeah, grading is being put in place. Water and sanitary is back up. They've got a lot of that up and running. It is broken down into different sections, and if you remember from the map, you have sections A, B, C, D. Some of the new board members may not have seen that, but the project is broken up in different phases and sections. So they have completed the pad work for section A, E, and C. And they'll continue to work on B and D. They start prepping the parking area where the football field is gonna be at. So there's a lot of construction going on. You see up front. If you happen to go down Snead, there's a lot of work that's being done at the back where the baseball, softball, and the football field will be at. And one of those other pictures, go back for me, Malik, I think one before that. This is where the old track was at. So they're torn that up where the old track was at in order for the, that's where the softball and baseball field is gonna be part of where that area is at. They started prepping for the electrical to be put in place. For the section A, which is where the chiller is gonna be at, cause their philosophy is they're gonna start with the chiller. That equipment takes usually the longest to get and to get to put it together. That's why that our other chiller took about a year to put in place. So that's where they're gonna start there and work from there, building the school up and out from the chiller yard. And they're starting that area, getting the footings and the foundation prep for that. So that we can, they can work from there. Our next meeting would be on March the 5th. That will be a virtual meeting and it'll begin at 10:30. Are there any questions?
Questions? Thank you so much, Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And the only thing we have, because we've already approved the restart application. So we're gonna go to the draft of 2025-26 school calendar. And is this the first draft, Dr. Shotwell?
It's the first reading, so, yeah, so when we come back, we'll have to pick one of the two.
Okay, well, one thing.
But we send this out, we can let our parents know that it's out there, we put it on our website.
Okay, well, one thing I would like to mention, and we're looking at the calendar, that's what I've been up here doing, working, looking at things. There were some things that we overlooked this past school year, that normally would be on the calendar. But, even we're looking at this calendar right here. Which one? Both of them. And that is the use of, some years ago, the Board of Elections sent us, or requested that.
That's on the federal time, the federal, when you're doing statewide and federal elections, right?
No, that's been, because ever since we've gotten that request, we've been doing it on every year. Board members, you care to chime in?
You're talking about, Dr. Shotwell, you're talking about the election in the November, right? Is that what you're speaking to?
No, ma'am, I'm talking about the primaries in March.
I think it was November.
Oh, no, it was all.
I thought it was
Okay.
just both.
I don't know if I remember March, but I do remember November. Okay, I'm good with both.
It was both of them.
Okay.
Are we an actual voting site? For any of the polling sites, do they use our schools?
That's what they wanted, that's what they wanted,
That's what
They
they
act-
requested.
just in case.
Just in case.
Mhm.
And since then, we've been, closing schools on that day.
Okay,
I don't think I have a copy of that for the 25-26. Can you send me one? It could be after this, Dr. Shotwell.
it's on Assembly, but I'll send it to you.
Okay, no, I don't remember seeing it on Assembly, but if it is, I'll go back and look for it.
Okay, if you don't see it, just let me know.
Okay.
But, and I can look and see officially when that day is gonna be. For, because that'll be, for the US Senator, I mean, the even number of years. That's the one where you have to really worry about the primary. Now, I know with odd years, you've got, city and towns that have their elections. But I haven't heard anything about, if that's gonna affect us at all this year or not.
I guess the safest thing to do would be just to contact the Board of Election, contact Kristen Smith, and she should be able to tell us down at the election board.
Yeah, but
To be safe.
but honestly, but to be fair to our faculty and staff, if they're going to use our site, they need to let us know, because otherwise our kids need to be in school. Because what you're basically gonna have to do is you're gonna have to take a day from another time and bring it in there. I mean, because when you look at like November, we're already disrupted the week with Veterans Day, which is well deserved.
Yes.
And then you've got Thanksgiving. Now, on one calendar, you got Thanksgiving all week long,
And
the other calendar, you don't.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I'll be honest with you, I've never been in a place that's taken the whole week, but, you know, I will, work at the will and pleasure of the board.
We've done it
And-
both ways, the whole week. We've done it, you know,
Last
and
year,
it,
just a few days, and all the other districts and surrounding districts were closed. We were the only ones in school. And before then, I think we were out of school all week. But this past year, we went
We
Monday,
did,
Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. I'll call the Board of Elections in the morning and find out any details.
Okay.
But if they're, y'all understand what I'm saying?
I got you, I
I
understand.
mean, because, you know, in my past life, we did have polling sites that were at schools. And so, but we had schools that we were able to isolate the folks. So that if we didn't have school, we could. And they wouldn't interact with each other, bathrooms, the whole 9 yards and things. But if we're not a polling site,
I don't even think we have enough room to be a polling site now, because
no.
with the high school gone, and it's just so
yeah.
Yes,
much going on at the middle and high school.
but yeah, if you did it, it would be at the middle school, probably in the gym.
Yeah, it's.
That would be it.
Or it could be the elementary. I think we just need to check.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to make mention and make sure
Sure.
that we were all aware of it.
Right.
So thank you so much for information, first read. Next item on the agenda is break, and would you all like to forego the break? Thank you so much. All right, the next item is discussion. There are no items there. Did anyone have anything to discuss? If not, we're gonna move right along and we're gonna approve our items from closed session, which there's nothing to approve, and we'll go to board comments. Anybody have any board comments tonight? I've said enough. Okay, all right, if not, we're gonna go on to item A, 12A, committees and meeting dates, the next item. And you all, we met last Thursday and had our first work session. We hadn't had them a while, and I mentioned at that time that we were going to start back up our committees, and I do have a list for everyone for our committees for the 2025 school year. Ms. Bird Robinson, I will send it to you also.
I can take a picture of it and send it to her.
Okay.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Beautiful.
We already have our work sessions set up for Thursday, second Thursdays of every month. And when we met last week, there was an issue with a meeting on second Thursdays, and we discussed it somewhat. But tonight, we need to come to a date or a day of the week that we will be having our work sessions, because apparently there's a conflict with some of our board members to meet on that second Thursday night because of prior obligations. So at this time, I would like to entertain a day that you all would think would work best for our board to meet for the work sessions.
Ms. Hale?
Yes, ma'am.
I know that this came up before, and with our previous board, about changing the date. And I know that everyone was against doing it because we said, no, it was already the second Thursday. Everybody, that's what we already had agreed upon, and we weren't going to change it at that time, because we all do have different schedules. Leaving it on the second Thursday is the best. And I know that I heard at least one person say that it wouldn't work for them. I suggest that we leave it the way it is, because we all do work on different schedules and have other engagements and have moved things around just so that we can make this meeting. So, because for me, and I'm not just gonna, I'm just gonna say for me, if we move it from the second Thursday, then it interrupts something else that I already have scheduled that I moved 12 years ago when I came on the board, so that I could make sure that I do attend on Thursday night. So moving it will not work for me. Like I said, on Monday, Tuesday, and some Wednesdays, I have other obligations. So that third, it's gonna pose a hardship if we have to move it from the second, from that Thursday, for me.
I'd like to hear
Are
from
you
all.
just doing it for the month of March? Because I know that was the issue. Are we doing it for?
Well, we need to probably go ahead on and do it moving forward. I mean, for the rest of the year. I mean, put something in place. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to.
Is it something in our policy, Attorney Weber, that says that it's on Thursday nights? Like, I mean, I know anything can be changed, but I'm saying, is it in our policy that it's the second Thursday? I thought I had read that somewhere.
No, it's not part of your policy manual.
Okay.
Then we can do month to month, just in case somebody has something going on.
Well, we can do that.
They either fit.
I feel like month to month too, because anything can come up with any of us. But, I would like to keep it on that Thursday.
But that's not month to month then.
But, I'm saying for March,
Okay.
I'm talking March, if we go month to month. I would like to keep it on that Thursday, but if everybody can't be, then yeah, of course, we change it so that everybody can participate. To, I thought we had said Tuesday. Mhm.
So March would be what day? We do keep it on Thursday, that would be
March
March.
would be, the 13th.
The 13th.
I have,
But, because I know that you said initially that there was a conflict for next month. So is it possible that we can move next month? Does anyone have and I know, I hear what you're saying also, Ms. Bird Robinson, but like Mr. Bennett just, mentioned, it looked like what would work best for us is to do it on a month-to-month basis because of different conflicts and things obligations that we already have scheduled.
I actually moved the previous obligation because of the board meeting, because to come on the board. Not realizing the work session was the second Thursday, so I moved something from the second Thursday, from the third Thursday to the second Thursday. But that's temporary, that's for the next few months, and it's not like ongoing forever, so. That's probably till July.
Okay.
Yeah, so after July, then that date shouldn't be a conflict.
So for the month of March, we need to move it to, March the 11th. That Tuesday.
March, because it has been scheduled for the second Thursday, everything that I have that would be that time is moved to either that Monday or that Tuesday. The 11th will not work for me. Like I said, my second Thursdays are free unless I just have something at work that I can't get out of. But that's why those days have always been, we have always been told to keep those days open. The 11th of March will not work for me.
What about Wednesday? The 12th?
The 11th, 12th will not work for me.
Does the 13th work for everybody else?
Okay, what about the 5th?
Yes, I'm good with the
Or the 5th or the 6th? Does that work?
Neither of those dates work for me.
Okay, and see, that's what's it's gonna be a problem. If we don't set a date, it's gonna be a problem. But then it's not set. And instead of flip-flopping from month to month, we're not gonna be able to do that.
support about this? That we come in March, if the 13th is good for you, we meet on the 13th and then we set
It's not.
a date. So the
It's not,
13th
but-
is not good for
But
you.
no, but that's okay,
Okay.
but here's what I can do, cause I'm willing to be a little bit more flexible. So, I can do the work session, but I may,
What time is your,
that's what I said, I may not be able to stay the full time.
what time is yours?
7 o'clock.
7.
7 o'clock.
Okay, we can get you out of here.
Yeah.
By
Or
7.
can we move it up some so that,
Yeah.
can we move it up versus, I mean, instead of doing 5:30, do 5 o'clock? And that will give Mr. Davis at least a solid, you said you gotta leave by 7, Mr. Davis?
Yes,
And that'll give him at least a solid 2 hours. Now, hopefully we will be done by then.
that works for me. I can work with that.
Okay.
Okay.
If that works for everybody else.
All right,
So we'll move it up to 5 o'clock
5 o'clock.
On 13.
on the
On-
13th.
And no, just going forward, 5 o'clock on that third, I mean, 7 Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the time 5 o'clock is it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ms. Hale, can you repeat what you just said, please?
5 o'clock on second Thursdays. All right, and the next thing is, committees, and I passed out, everyone has a copy of their assigned committee. And we have, for finance, we have Mr. Noah Davis. Internal affairs, we have Mr. Al Bennett. Building and grounds, we have Ms. Donna Harrison and Mrs. Edith Jenkins. And for curriculum, Ms. Tanya Bird Robinson. And we all will serve on, the policy committee. And, we are looking to meet bi-monthly with your respective committees. Okay? And I'll have a plan for the schedule, sent to
Okay.
you all as well.
okay.
But it'll be bi-monthly meetings. And the next item on the agenda is board vacancy process. And right now.
We should pick dates.
I know, but it was lines.
So we don't need to revise the one itself. You can just post the dates.
All right. So, let me go to the email. Board vacancy process. We need to choose dates tomorrow, tomorrow.
Tomorrow is the deadline.
Tomorrow's the deadline for applications for people that are interested, for letters of interest to be submitted to us. And we have to choose a date to go through the letters of interest. So I guess we'll do that on our next work session, which will be on the 13th.
Because we had that down.
And that's right, board members. So the letters of interest are due tomorrow, February 28th. At the last meeting, the board decided to make the others to be determined at a later time while we were trying to schedule your meeting with the State Board of Education. That has now been scheduled for March 26th. So the 3 remaining steps in the process, that's the selection of candidates for interviews. It sounds like that's something you could do on March 13th during the work session. So following that, you would need to schedule the candidate interviews themselves. That's where you would invite the people in who you selected out of that initial pool. And then the only remaining item would be selection of candidate, which you could do at a regular board meeting. So March 13 is your selection of candidates for interviews. When would you like to conduct your interviews themselves?
Originally, we had it on March the 26th.
We can't do the 26th.
I know, said originally, we had it on March the 26th.
And we can't do the 26th and we can't do the 27th, so it's gonna kick us into the first week in April.
which would be April the third.
April third is good with everyone?
What day is that?
Thursday?
On the Thursday.
I
April the
won't,
3rd.
I'll be at that training.
Okay, so April tenth? Oh, yeah, that's a work session. Yeah, you all want to do the interviews at that time, at a work session? Okay,
Yes, that'd be good.
all right.
And you can.
And we will select our candidate at our regular board meeting in April 17th.
What's the date you said?
April 17th. At our regular board meeting.
She need the April the 10th date too.
April 10th is, we're having our candidate interviews, we meet them every Thursday, second Thursday. So is everyone those dates? Okay, and okay. Can I get a motion to approve so that staff can post this tomorrow on the website?
So move.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second by Ms. Burt Robinson and Mr. Noah Davis to approve the changes or the updates for the board vacancy process. Are there any questions? Now, can I get your usual vote of sign aye? Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Jenkins? And I, for me, any opposed? Ayes have it, and those dates are now approved. All right, next item is upgrade equipment for meetings. We discussed this also in our board meeting, our work session last week in regards to us being, recorded. And I know that we're online tonight, but we have talked about upgrading our equipment so that things could be clearer and our voices would be projected clearly when we are being recorded and people play it back on YouTube and things of that nature. So does anyone, do we have any, Ms. Gutton, are you able to get us some folks to see?
I mean, we can get somebody to come in and tell us what we need to, it depends on what you want to do, like you could have a camera that's in the ceiling. That could move around, and then you could have individual microphones in front of you or lavalier mics.
Okay, all right, okay. The next item is the board budget for training. We also discussed this at our work session as well. And we, as a board, agreed to have our budget increased. And so I guess we have to have a motion for that tonight. The amount was 45,000 per year. Is there a motion to approve the increase?
Remind me, that's an increase from how much?
35,000. I looked at the last 4 or 5 years of budgets, and that's been the amount on there, but we, like I said, last year in June, we had to add 25,000 to it. So based on the formula that I gave y'all, if you do 45,000, 10,000 of it will cover everybody going to the annual state conference for NCSBA. And then that'll leave 35,000 divided up by 7 board members. So each of you get $5,000 to decide how you want to use that for your training. If for some reason you're going to spend more than that, then you need to ask another board member if you can have some of their money.
Essentially, okay.
I mean, I've done that before, because some people go and some people don't.
Right.
And if you don't feel comfortable asking the person, you can call me up and I'll ask them for you. I'll say it really nice. It depends on how much you're asking for though.
Yeah.
All right, is there a motion?
The motion that we approve the budget increase for training.
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah.
Is there a motion and second to increase the board budget from 35,000 to 45,000? Are there any questions? Now, can I get your usual voting sign of aye?
Aye.
Ms. Bird Robinson?
Aye.
And I for me. Any opposed? No. So the board budget has been increased to 45,000. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I mean,
Second.
okay, it's been motioned and seconded to adjourn for tonight. Are there any questions? If not, can I get your usual vote sign of aye? Any opposed? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, and we are now adjourned at 8:32. Thank you all so much for coming out.